Picture this. A 30-year-old billionaire sleeps on beanbags, drives a Toyota Corolla, and promises to give away 99% of his fortune to charity. The world called him a genius. Wall Street worshipped him. Celebrities endorsed him. But in just 1 week, Sam Bankman-Fried went from crypto's golden boy to handcuffs. This isn't just another crypto scam story. This is the anatomy of a $26 billion lie that fooled everyone from Tom Brady to Congress itself. In 2022, Sam Bankman was untouchable. Forbes estimated his net worth at $26 billion, making him the wealthiest person under 30 in history. His exchange, FTX, was valued at $32 billion and had naming rights to the Miami Heat arena. But here's what made Sam different from other crypto bros, his story. He wasn't chasing Lamborghinis or Miami penthouses. He was an effective altruist, someone dedicated to making the world better through maximum charitable impact. While other billionaires bought yachts, Sam slept on office beanbags and wore the same t-shirt for weeks. Sam's journey began at Jane Street, an elite trading firm where he worked alongside Caroline Ellison. Remember that name. In 2017, he spotted something others missed. Bitcoin was trading for $5,000 more on Japanese exchanges than American ones. Pure arbitrage opportunity. He founded Alameda Research with $150 million from wealthy, effective altruists and made millions exploiting these price differences. When the opportunity dried up, Sam had a new idea: build his own crypto exchange. In May 2019, FTX launched. Within months, they raised $8 million. By 2021, they were valued at billions. FTX's marketing was everywhere. Super Bowl ads featuring Larry David, Tom Brady as spokesperson, the Miami Heat arena, renamed FTX Arena, Formula One sponsorships. Even Kevin O'Leary, who had called crypto garbage, signed a $15 million deal. But the masterstroke was FTT, FTX's own token. They created 350 million tokens, kept most of them, and used their inflated value as collateral for loans. It was brilliant, magical internet money that could be printed as needed. While FTX grew, something disturbing happened at Alameda in April 2018, the April fiasco. Co-founder Tara McCauley and half the staff confronted Sam about his reckless trading and poor decisions. They demanded he leave the company. Sam refused. Tara and most employees quit, warning the effective altruism community about Sam's behavior. Those warnings were ignored. This pattern, reckless behavior, ignored warnings, and Sam's belief that rules didn't apply to him would repeat throughout his empire's rise. The conflict of interest. Here's the crucial detail everyone missed. Sam owned both FTX, the exchange, and Alameda Research, the trading firm using that exchange. This created a massive conflict of interest that would later prove fatal. How could FTX ensure Alameda got no special treatment? Simple answer, they couldn't. And they didn't even try. By mid-2022, warning signs were everywhere. Key executives were quietly leaving FTX. Sam Trabucco, Alameda's co-CEO, resigned in August. Brett Harrison, FTX US president, left in September. Then came the leak that changed everything. On November 2, 2022, CoinDesk published Alameda Research's balance sheet. The numbers were shocking. Of Alameda's $4.6 billion in assets, most were FTT tokens, the same tokens created by their sister company, FTX. In other words, Alameda's wealth existed only on paper, backed by tokens they essentially printed themselves. Changpeng Zhao, CEO of rival exchange Binance, saw the leak and tweeted to his millions of followers that Binance would sell all their FTT tokens. This wasn't just business, it was warfare. That single tweet triggered a bank run. If the biggest exchange in the world didn't trust FTX, why should anyone else? Customers rushed to withdraw their funds. Within hours, FTX was facing a liquidity crisis they couldn't solve. Caroline Ellison, now Alameda's CEO, publicly begged CZ to sell his tokens directly to Alameda for $22 each instead of crashing the market. CZ refused, tweeting, "We won't pretend to make love after divorce." Sam tried to calm fears, tweeting that FTX was fine and had enough money to cover all deposits, but the damage was done. In a shocking turn, CZ announced Binance would acquire FTX, potentially saving them from collapse. For 24 hours, there was hope. Then Bloomberg and the Wall Street Journal published simultaneous reports. The SEC and CFTC were investigating whether FTX had mishandled customer funds. Within hours, CZ withdrew the acquisition offer. The statement was devastating. The issues are beyond our control or ability to help. That was it. The death sentence. On November 11, 2022, FTX filed for bankruptcy. A $32 billion company collapsed in just 4 days, but the real bombshell came in the bankruptcy filings. John Ray, the new CEO overseeing FTX's collapse, the same man who handled Enron, made an unprecedented statement. "Never in my career have I seen such a complete failure of corporate controls." The filings revealed the truth. FTX had been secretly lending customer deposits to Alameda Research from day one. Up to $10 billion of customer funds had simply vanished. Instead of hiding, Sam embarked on what can only be described as a delusional media tour. He appeared on every platform that would have him, claiming ignorance about the commingling of funds. His defense: "I was vaguely aware that was how some wires were being sent. Vaguely aware of $10 billion in customer funds." On December 12, 2022, Sam Bankman-Fried was arrested in the Bahamas. The charges were staggering: wire fraud, securities fraud, money laundering, campaign finance violations. 8 counts total, carrying up to 115 years in prison. Caroline Ellison and Gary Wang, Sam's closest allies, immediately flipped and pleaded guilty. They would testify against the man who had built his empire on their backs. The picture that emerged was devastating: a group of inexperienced 20-somethings, many romantically involved with each other, running a multi-billion-dollar empire from a Bahamas penthouse while high on amphetamines and delusions of grandeur. Behind the headlines about billions in losses were real people whose lives were destroyed. Retirees who lost their savings. Young investors who put their entire net worth into what they thought was the safest crypto exchange. One victim said, "It felt like everything I worked up to this point in my life has been swept away. All the raises, all the bonuses, I might as well have burned those checks." These weren't crypto degenerates gambling on meme coins. These were ordinary people who trusted the man. The New York Times called crypto's White Knight. Today, Sam Bankman-Fried sits in prison, convicted on all counts and facing decades behind bars. His effective altruism turned out to be the most effective selfishness in history. But the real tragedy isn't Sam's downfall. It's that millions of people believed his lie. They believed that a disheveled 30-year-old sleeping on beanbags had cracked the code to ethical capitalism. The truth is simpler and more depressing. There are no ethical billionaires, no matter how much they promise to give away. There are only people with enough money to buy better stories about themselves. And in the end, those stories always collapse under the weight of reality. The only question now is, who's next?